Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We go to 72 years ago today, March 6, 1951, an episode of The Lineup and the Check Killer case. And we thank you for joining us on this Monday. This is the 6th day of March. It is the 65th day of the year. We have 300 days remaining until we get to 2024. Now, on this date in 1820, the Missouri Compromise signed into law by President Monroe. The compromise allowed Missouri to enter the Union as a slave state, but made the rest of the northern part of the Louisiana Purchase territory slave-free. In 1836, after a 13-day siege by an army of 3,000 Mexican troops, the 189 Texas volunteers defending the Alamo are defeated, and the fort taken. The Battle of Alamo on this date in 1836. 1899, Bayer registered aspirin as a trademark. 1927, Fritz Lang's Metropolis released. In 1957, Israel withdrew its troops from the Sinai Peninsula. 1964, Prophet Elijah Muhammad officially gave Cassius Clay the name Muhammad Ali, meaning beloved of Allah. At a press conference on the Senate sustaining President Nixon's veto of an energy bill on this date in 1974, the president denied that there were any payments of hush money in connection with the Watergate scandal.
I did not authorize payments, and I did not have knowledge of payments to which you have referred.
Nixon went further on the topic of granting pardons to those involved in Watergate.
I then said that to pay clemency was wrong. In fact, I think I can quote it directly. I said, it is wrong, that's for sure. Mr. Haldeman was present when I said that. Mr. Dean was present. Both agreed with my conclusion.
More questions were asked about Watergate in that press conference than all other topics combined. Iraq and Iran announced a settlement in this date in 1975 over their border dispute. For the first time on this date in 1975, the Zapruder film of the assassination of President Kennedy shown in motion to a national TV audience. And after 19 years presenting the CBS Evening News, Walter Cronkite signed off for the last time on this date in 1981.
This is my last broadcast as the anchorman of the CBS Evening News. For me, it's a moment for which I long have planned, but which nevertheless comes with some sadness. For almost 2 decades, after all, we've been meeting like this in the evenings, and I'll miss that. But those who have made anything of this departure, I'm afraid, have made too much. This is but a transition, a passing of the baton. A great broadcaster and gentleman, Doug Edwards, preceded me in this job, and another, Dan Rather, will follow. And anyway, the person who sits here is but the most conspicuous member of a superb team of journalists, writers, reporters, editors, producers, and none of that will change. Furthermore, I'm not even going away. I'll be back from time to time with special news reports and documentaries, and beginning in June, every week with our science program, Universe. Old anchormen, you see, don't fade away. They just keep coming back for more. And that's the way it is. Friday, March 6th, 1981. I'll be away on assignment, and Dan Rather will be sitting in here for the next few years. Good night.
At least with Walter Cronkite, an avowed liberal, you had a feeling that things were at least being fairly stated, unlike these days in television news. Alrighty, at 2006, 22 years after the Justice Department forced the breakup of AT&T and the divestiture of its regional operating companies, the renamed AT&T, formerly Southwestern Bell, announced the acquisition of Bell South.
Today we don't compete head-to-head with AT&T. However, we compete with major cable companies, and that really is what this is all about.
Bell South's President Tom Hamby, who said the merger could take up to a year. The deal closed 9 months later. Former White House aide L. Lewis Libby, Scooter Libby, found guilty on this date in 2007 on 4 of 5 counts of perjury and obstruction of justice.
Any person telling a lie under oath to a grand jury is a serious problem. Having someone, a high-level official, do that under oath in a national security investigation is something that can never be acceptable.
Federal prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald, Libby sentenced to 30 months in federal prison, a fine of $250,000, and 2 years of supervised release, including 400 hours of community service. President George W. Bush commuted the prison sentence, but allowed the other penalties to stand. Life changed on this date in 2007 for 56-year-old truck driver Ed Neighbors, who on this date won half of the then record $390 million Mega Millions bonanza.
I sat there, I know, for probably 15 or 20 minutes, and the computer in the truck beeped, and I think it was my dispatcher wanting to know why I was sitting still so long.
What'd you tell him?
I never did get back to him.
Now, after taxes, the Georgia man took home some $80 million. When asked what he was going to do with the money, Neighbors told reporters, "I'm going to do a lot of fishing." Passing away on this date in history, frontiersman Davy Crockett, novelist Louisa May Alcott, band leader, conductor, composer John Philip Sousa, actress Margaret Dumont, singer Nelson Eddy, Detective Paul Drake on Perry Mason, William Hopper, Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum, also Anne Rand, Ernest Gallo, the founder of that winery you know so much about, Alice Cramden on the Jackie Gleason shows from 1966 to 1970, Sheila McRae, Nancy Reagan, and actor-historian, best known for his work on Turner Classic Movies, Robert Osborne. This is the birth date of Cyrano de Bergerac, Ring Lardner, Bob Wills, the country swing, Ed McMahon, Wes Montgomery, Mary Wilson, and Lou Costello.
Who's the guy on first base?
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, what's the guy's name on first base?
No, what is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
Oh, he's on third. We're not talking about him. Now, let's forget about
Now, how did I get on third base?
Why, you mentioned his name.
If I mention a third baseman's name, who did I say is playing third?
No, who's playing first?
What's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know.
He's on third.
There I go, back on third again.
A fragment of their wonderful Who's on First routine, Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, born on this date in history. Let's see, born on this date, British singer Kiki Dee is 76. Rob Reiner, the meathead himself, is 76 as well. Grease 1, Grease 2, and a nerd character in a lot of programs, Eddie Deason, turned 66. Actor-comedian Tom Arnold, 64. Comedian D.L. Hughley is 60. From Friday Night Lights in Nashville, Connie Britton is 56. From One Tree Hill, Moira Kelly is 55. Hello, ladies. The man who played Val Venus in the WWE, Sean Morley, 52. Shaq, 51 years old today. That, of course, Shaquille O'Neal. Pro wrestler Ken Anderson, 47 today. And from Days of Our Lives and 13 Reasons Why, Alicia Bowe is 26. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 6th day of March as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. We go back 72 years to March 6, 1951, an episode of CBS's The Lineup and the Check Killer Case. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thank you for tuning in on this Monday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station. The Lineup had a solid run on CBS Radio from 1950 to 1953, on CBS Television from 1954 to 1960, I should say, and on radio, Bill Johnstone playing Lieutenant Ben Guthrie, one of the several players to play the Shadow on radio, and Sergeant Matt Greb, you'll hear today, played by Wally Mayer in his final radio role. He would pass away December 27th, 1951. All right, let's get to the lineup. March 6th, 1951, 72 years ago today on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox and the Check Killer Case.
We take you now to the lineup. Hi, Ben.
Hey.
Thought you were off duty.
I'm supposed to be, Quan, but we're checking on that 211 when we get down the morgue.
Oh, no identification?
Not yet. Be another hour or so. Thought I'd stop in and see what you got.
Nothing big. About 35 boys.
Well, I got nothing to do until we get an identification.
Oh, there's Matt.
May I have your
help
attention, please?
Yeah, I'll see you later.
You people out there on the other side of the wire in the audience room, may I have your attention, please? Thank you. My name is Greb, Sergeant Matt Greb. I'll explain the lineup to you. Each of the suspects you will see will be numbered. I'll call off a number, their name, and charge. If you have any questions or identification, please remember the number assigned to the prisoner as I call his name. At the end of each line, when I ask for questions or identifications, call out the number. If you're sure or not too sure of the suspect, have him held. The officers who took your name will assist you. They're seated among you. Please be prompt with your questions or identifications. When the prisoners leave here, they are sent to the washroom and dressed back into their jail clothes. It makes it quite difficult to bring them back after they leave here. The questions I ask these suspects are merely to get a natural tone of voice, so do not pay too much attention to their answers, as they often lie. Bring on the line. Okay, keep it moving. Right over to the end of the stage. Hands to your sides. Now turn and face front. Okay, boys, now when you answer my questions, talk up. There's a lot of people out there, and I want you to talk up so they can all hear you. All right, number one, Thomas Lane, breaking and entering. Where do you live, Tommy?
3112 Kennedy, upstairs.
Don't look at me, Tommy. Look straight ahead, right out at the people there.
Yes, sir.
You live at 3112 Kennedy. North, south, or what?
3112 South Kennedy.
You live alone?
No, sir, with my folks.
What?
With my folks.
I know the people out in front can't hear you. Now, come on, talk up.
I said I live with my folks.
That's better, Tommy. You arrested with anybody?
No, sir.
Any weapons?
Oh, no, sir. I didn't have any weapons.
What time was it?
Yeah, that's
when
him,
I was
officer.
arrested?
Klein,
Yes, what
Gavin.
time was it?
Identification back then.
No,
Oh, that's
10,
the skip,
maybe
thanks.
10:30.
Where was it?
Yes,
Auto
Mr. Skip.
records. over
Number
like-
1. That's the boy.
How old are
Okay,
you,
we'll
Tommy?
have him held at the end of the
18.
line.
Okay, number two, Frank Lazo, assault. Where do you live, Frank?
913 South Orchard Street.
What do you do?
I'm a carpenter.
What were you doing when you were arrested?
I was fighting. I was in a bar fighting.
Did you start it?
No, Sergeant. Some guy hit a sailor just up and slugged him.
Well, who did you hit?
The guy that hit the sailor. I got sore when he hit him, so I dropped him.
What'd you drop him with?
A painted machine. He didn't have no business hitting that sailor. Sailor wasn't doing nothing but having a good time.
The man you slugged said the sailor started.
Look, I was standing right there, Sergeant. Sailor wasn't doing nothing, standing there having a beer, minding his own business. The guy I slugged started the whole thing. Would want it.
You know the sailor?
Yeah, sure. He's my brother.
Okay, number three, Dennis Riley, drunk and disorderly. Where do you live, Dennis?
214 North Peck, Apartment C, Sergeant.
What do you do?
I'm kind of out of work. I ain't been doing nothing for a while.
You married?
Sure, what do you think I'm here for?
Because you and three other guys caused some trouble.
Well, I had a small party, Sergeant. My wife's out of town. I can't do nothing when she's home, so I had a party.
Well, you got pretty drunk.
Oh, not too much.
How long were you drinking?
About 30 years.
Number four, George Watson, robbery. Where do you live, George?
440 Federal Street.
You arrested with anybody?
No.
Ben?
Any weapons?
Yeah, sure.
38.
See you a minute?
Automatic.
Sure.
Well, what is it? Nickel-plated, blue steel, or what?
Blue steel.
What's up?
We got something on that 211.
Identification?
Well, not yet, but I've got an old tramp downstairs. Says he saw the man killed. This is Sam Rogers, Ben.
Old Sam, they call me.
Keep your seat, Sam.
Yes, yes.
Sam says he was in a culvert near the shore road.
Just keeping out of the rain.
He saw a car pull off the side and heard a shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell me about it, Sam.
Well, ain't much to tell. Man get out of the car. This was after the shot, of course. He got out and grabbed the man's legs and dragged him out of the car. Bumpity bump. Oh, he swung him off the road so hard he rolled on down that hill there, just over and over. I just stayed in there watching him roll just over and over.
You see the man who pulled this guy out of the car and rolled him down the hill?
Oh, yes, I saw him. He had to drag this dead fellow right in front of the headlights to get him over to the hill there. I saw him kind of clear there in the headlights.
How'd you know the fellow was dead?
Well, you got him down the morgue, ain't you?
You know he was dead when this man rolled him down the hill?
Oh, I didn't stick around to find out. Took me all this time to get up enough nerve to come in here. So I just kind of walked around thinking about it and figured I'd better tell you about it.
Well, we're glad you did.
You couldn't fix me up with a meal, could you?
Guthrie. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, give it to me. Russell Godfrey, 311 Kirby Road. Okay, right. That's the identification. Russell Godfrey, 311 Kirby Road.
Is that the dead fellow?
That's right, Sam. I should fix Sam up with a meal and give him a bed.
Oh, I ain't tired. I'm hungry, but I ain't tired.
You got any money?
What kind of money?
You can have run of the place. You won't mind it.
Okay, but I won't like it. I shall have nightmares, sure.
I can sure do without this rain.
We need it.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's get it over with.
Yeah.
Phew, boy. Somebody ought to try to figure out a waterproof cigarette.
Russell? Oh, I'm sorry. I was expecting my husband.
I'm Lieutenant Guthrie, Mrs. Godfrey.
Lieutenant?
And this is Sergeant Grebb.
Police?
That's right.
Something's happened.
May we come in?
Yeah, of course.
Mrs. Godfrey, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
Question?
Yes. Your husband was shot.
Oh, no.
There's no other way of telling you this. We've got to tell you the truth.
You mean someone killed him?
Yes, ma'am. Someone shot him.
Oh.
Miss Godfrey. Miss Godfrey, do you have any friends or a member of the family you'd like us to call?
My mother. Yes, call my mother.
What's the number, Mrs. Godfrey?
Mrs. Klein, Madison 33446.
Mrs. Klein, Madison 33446?
Yes, yes. The phone's in the hall. That door.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, but it's such a terrible shock.
You think you could answer just a couple of questions and we won't bother you for a while?
I'll try.
We found your husband out on the shore road.
He comes home from work that way.
Somebody drive him? He have his own car?
Oh, yes. He has his own car.
Where does he work?
He works for Mr. Martin, the Martin Lyons Printing Corporation. He's a salesman.
Martin Lyons Printing Corporation.
Yeah, that's on the east side, about 45 minutes from here.
What time does he usually get home?
About 6. Usually about 6. I've been worried because I didn't hear from him. I even called the office, but they said he left. Why would anybody want to?
The mother's on the way, Ben.
He was in his own car, man.
Oh? Hitchhiker, maybe?
Maybe. Why don't you stretch out on the couch, Mrs. Godfrey? Your mother will be right over.
All right.
Hey, throw that cover over him, man.
Sure. There. Now, you okay, Mrs. Godfrey?
Yes, thanks.
Man.
Yeah?
As soon as the mother gets here, we'll check on what kind of car he was driving. Put out an APB.
Yeah, okay, Ben.
Tomorrow morning, I want to go down to the Martin Lyons Printing Company where he worked.
Okay. Cigarette?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Miserable rain. Yeah. We needed it, though.
March 6th, 1951, the lineup here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The news from 72 years ago today follows these important messages from your favorite radio station. Thanks for making us a part of your Monday. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. Thank you for joining us on this Monday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of The Lineup as it was originally broadcast on Tuesday, March 6, 1951. In the newspapers of that Monday 72 years ago, these were some of the headlines. The government set up a new emergency office yesterday to see that the civilian consumers got a break in the defense program and named radio executive Louis Allen Weiss of Los Angeles to head it. The appointment was announced at a United Press survey showed that Americans should be able to buy just about all the civilian goods they want this year, barring all-out war. Despite the increasing flow of vital materials into military production, the survey showed that output of television sets, radios, refrigerators, washing machines, vacuum cleaners, and even automobiles is continuing at a rate close to last year's all-time high. Weiss, the former board chairman of the Mutual Broadcasting System, appointed head of the new Office of Civilian Requirements in the National Production Authority. An investigating senator told yesterday of evidence that Senator Murray, the Democrat of Montana, plugged for a $1 million Reconstruction Finance Corporation loan to a Miami hotel, which netted one of Murray's sons a lawyer's fee. Testimony yesterday involved a second son. The Senate inquiry also released testimony taken privately that Donald Dawson, a White House aide, and other politicians had enjoyed visits to Florida as non-paying guests of another Miami Beach hotel, the Saxony, which borrowed $1.5 million from the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. The Senate voted in effect yesterday to draft 18-year-olds for 24 months of service after rejecting a Republican proposal which would have fixed the bottom induction age at 18.5. The action both a victory and a defeat for President Truman and his top military chiefs, who had wanted to draft 18-year-old youths for 27 months in uniform. The draft term, now pegged at 21 months, would apply to all draftees. The 24-month service period, advanced by Chairman Richard B. Russell, Democrat of Georgia, of the Senate Armed Services Committee, after Senator Wayne Morse, the Republican of Oregon, stood firm on his demand that the draft term be left at 21 months. From Omaha, Nebraska, two jailbreakers and an armed Confederate who began their flight as fare-paying passengers on a city transit bus still at large. Their trail was lost after they released 4 hostages at a southeastern Nebraska farm Sunday night and continued their trip in the farmer's car. The jailbreakers, officers called them desperate, vicious, and trigger-happy, identified as 21-year-old Dewey Battershaw of Omaha and Victor Sweet, 24, of Hartington, Nebraska. They were in jail on charges of holding up an Omaha filling station January 17th. And speaking of lineups, Sunday night stand-ups in the Pittsburgh police station unusual, but what followed was more unusual. Detective Inspector Adam Geisler had 40 victims of recent holdups come to the station to view 5 holdup suspects, one of whom had previously admitted at least one holdup. But neither he nor any of the other suspects were identified by the 40 victims. Exasperated, Geisler had the victims taken to another room and told 24-year-old Harold Jones, one of the suspects, to go through this crowd and pick out the people you stuck up. Jones confidently tapped 3 men on the shoulder. They were victims of holdups in which $1,024 was taken. Jones promptly charged with the holdups. So some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, March 6, 1951 on your radio, The Lineup, which continues following these messages on this Monday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station. On Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater, the episode of the syndicated program Murder at Midnight from 76 years ago, March 7th, 1947, The Dead Hand. A musician loses his hand in an accident, kills a pickpocket, and forces a doctor to graft the man's hand onto his arm. And don't be surprised by the grim results. That's coming up on Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now, the conclusion of The Lineup. March 6th, 1951, 72 years ago today.
Sergeant Guthrie?
Yes, Mr. Martin. This is Sergeant Graham.
Sergeant?
How are you, sir?
Won't you have a seat?
Well, thank you.
Now then, what can I do for you?
You have a man working for you named Godfrey?
Russell Godfrey? Yeah. Nothing wrong?
He was killed last night.
What?
Someone shot him. Took his car.
Good grief. Shot him? Deliberately?
Very deliberately.
I walked downstairs with him, said good night. What about his wife?
She took it pretty well. He didn't drive away with anybody?
No, he was alone. At least he was when he left me.
Have you any idea why anybody would want to kill him?
No, I certainly don't.
Did he have much money on him?
I couldn't say.
Any valuables? Anything of value from your company?
He had a briefcase.
Briefcase?
Yes, threw it in the front seat with him. We talked for a minute, and then it started to rain.
Have you any idea what was in the briefcase?
Just the kit, all our sales force use, sample forms, cards, checks.
What kind of checks?
They wouldn't do anybody any good. They'd need the payee's name. Here, I'll show you one. Besides the signature, they'd need to be signed by the officers of the various companies whose signatures are acceptable to the paying banks.
You mean you print these up for a lot of firms?
Hundreds of firms. Each have their own color, markings, and so on.
I see. Well, who could cash these checks besides the banks? Don't they have regular check cashing services?
Well, yes. There are a number of them in the city. Lieutenant, you don't think Godfrey was killed for these checks?
Yes, I do. There are a lot of people who work pretty hard trying to make crime pay off.
Had enough, Ben?
Enough. Up to here, Molly.
Coffee?
If there won't be any trouble.
Don't be silly.
I'll help, honey.
Oh, you have a cigarette.
Now look, Molly. We'll do the dishes tonight.
You both sit right there and relax.
For Pete's sake.
You like to eat over here?
But how many times?
Have a cigarette.
Relax, Ben. You're outclassed.
Okay.
This is no trouble for me at all.
Wonderful dinner, Molly.
You can come again.
Hey, Matt. We ought to help one night.
Oh, I help plenty of nights. What do you think I asked you over for?
I heard that.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yes, I did. The cream on the table?
No, the sugar is, though. Honey, do you want to have coffee in the other room?
You want to?
Lights are on, Ben.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll have it in the other room, honey.
Okay, you go on. I'll bring it in.
It's nearly 8 and they started 8. Sit over there, Ben.
Always guarding your chair, huh, man?
Oh, no, Ben, you know.
That's okay. It's okay. I was joking.
Behind us. Who's fighting?
Some of the best fighters in the game. Second bout of the evening features.
Oh, gee,
and here they are in the ring. Features Wilbur Jones and John Montague, lightweight.
Is that loud enough,
Montague's
Ben?
had 11 fights.
A little
this year.
more.
Lost 3, won 6 by knockout.
Okay.
Jones had 12, lost 2, and won 5 by knockout. Well, the fight's on, and there's Jones with a long left. Montague takes it on his elbow and counters with his own left, high on the head of Jones.
Yes?
Both Jones and Montague have always been crowd pleasers.
Ben,
but
for you.
They've always been throwing
Ben.
each other, too.
It's the precinct.
Oh, thanks, Molly.
And Montague takes the left.
Hello,
and
this
counters
is
with his own
Guthrie.
right. Both of these boys
Yeah.
have got a lot of respect for each other, and they're staying away.
Yeah, all right, Clyde. We'll be right down.
Better hold the coffee, honey.
I just poured it back in the pot.
Jones ties him up and hits the corner.
Hello, Ben. Sorry to drag you out. That's okay, Clint. This is Mr. Webb, Lieutenant Guthrie, Sergeant Greb. Any
right,
Webb? Mr. Webb is president of the firm whose name was cut into the checks. Oh, just one check cashed?
That's right, Lieutenant, yes.
Here it is, Ben. And which one of your men cashed the check? We questioned the teller. He doesn't remember the man too well. Thinks he might identify him if he saw him again. Made out to Arthur Fisher. No one on your payroll by that name, Mr. Webb?
No, sir, there isn't.
$258. Deductions and everything. You did a good job. Yeah, too good. Somebody's certainly familiar with Mr. Webb's business. We're running a check on all the employees. Have you seen Mr. Martin in Princey's? Yeah, we're doing the same with all the employees in his shop. How'd you spot this as a phony?
Well, Baxter's a check cashing service called me. Baxter had read about that man being killed and the check stolen. He knew our payday and remembered it wasn't today, and so Mr. Baxter called me.
Oh, whoever cashed that thing certainly got careless. It looked like it was planned so well after all. It didn't make sense. Looks like a perfect forgery. But to make a mistake of cashing it on the wrong day. He might have gotten away with it if he'd gone in with a lot of other checks. Yeah, sure stuff, man. Oh, excuse me, man.
Why? Yeah, he's right here. See you, Ben.
Thanks. Guthrie. Yeah? Yeah, where? Okay, right. Got Godfrey's stolen car spotted. Parking lot on West Colfax.
There's Asher.
Car's right over here, Ben. You want to talk to the attendant?
Yeah.
Briggs.
Yes, sir?
How long ago did the man park that car?
About 20 minutes.
Officer on the beat spotted it.
Just one man, son?
Yes, sir, just one man. He told me to watch it because there was some suitcases in it.
3 of them. Some maps in the glove compartment.
Taking a trip. Might explain why that check was cashed on the wrong day. Let's go take a look.
Mister.
Yeah?
That's him. Here he comes.
Don't point.
He spotted us, Ben. He's running.
Asher, round that way.
He's behind those cars.
Look out. He's got a gun.
Circle that way, Matt.
Right.
Come on, give it up. You're surrounded.
You can't make it. Throw your gun out. Okay, blow him up.
Ben,
Yeah?
he's had it.
You know, Lieutenant, it's bad enough staying in the tank, but coming down here.
Yeah, well, we need an identification, Sam.
Did I get it?
We want to know if this is the man you saw pull the other one out of the car and roll him down the hill.
Okay, then.
Roll it out, Charlie. Well?
What do you mean,
I mean, no, that ain't the guy.
Well, what do we do?
What do you mean, what do we do? I don't know what we do. What do you got, Asher?
Here's the guy's personal effects. Driver's license and the wallet. Name's Bishop, Frank Bishop. Check the files, no package on him.
And what about the FBI?
Oh, we're waiting for a kickback now.
Nothing much here.
No. How do you think he figures?
No guy's gonna pull a gun like that unless he's mixed up in something that might get him a lot of years.
Do you want to check that address on the license?
778.5 North Spring. Yeah, wait a minute.
What's the matter, Ben?
That address.
What about it?
Funny. That address, it's familiar. Now, where the devil have I seen it?
778.5 North Spring? Doesn't do anything for me.
Where are those lists on the employees working for the check cashing firms?
You put them in the file. Do you want them?
Yeah. Give a couple of sheets to Asher. You take a couple and we'll check them.
Oh.
Yeah?
Here's the FBI kickback on a guy in a morgue van. Got a record. Name's Frank Bishop, all right. Arrested in 1933 on a forgery rap and using the mails.
Okay, Quine. Bring it in, will you?
Right.
Nothing on this one.
Hey, Ben.
Huh?
Here it is. The Martin Lyons Printing Company. Jules Harrison, 778.5 North Spring.
I knew I'd seen it.
Could be Bishop's roommate.
Here's a kickback, Ben.
Oh, thanks. Take a couple of men and go over and check on 778.5 North Spring. Man named Jules Harrison. Works for Martin Lyons Printing. Want to talk to him.
All right.
Aren't we going?
We're going over to the printing company. I got a hunch he's still working for them. Asher?
Yeah?
Go down and get old Sam. We'll want an identification.
Lieutenant Guthrie, go right in. Mr. Martin's expecting you.
Thank you.
Let's go, Sam.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, hello, Lieutenant.
Hello, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, this is Sam Rogers.
How do you do?
Hey.
Sam saw the man who killed Godfrey. We think maybe the man we want is working for you. Jules Harrison.
Sure. Of course. He's been with the company for nearly 10 years.
Well, we'd like for you to send for him, please.
All right. Miss Williams, will you ask Jules Harrison to come in, please?
Yes, sir.
What makes you think it was Harrison? Well, we spotted Godfrey's stolen car in the parking lot. The man who was driving it put up a fight and was killed. When we checked his address, we found it matched Harrison's.
Maybe this other man was the one who killed Godfrey.
No. Old Sam here says he wasn't.
That's right. Yes, you're absolutely right. That stiff in the morgue wasn't the one that killed that fellow and rolled him down the hill. No, sir. Oh, no, that's for sure. He didn't do it.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison is here.
Send him in.
Now, Sam, take a good look at him.
Okay, Lieutenant.
You want to see me, Mr. Martin?
Yes, come in, Harrison.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir?
That's the fellow, Lieutenant. That's him. That's him.
You're under arrest, Harrison.
What do you mean I'm under arrest?
I'm holding you on suspicion of murder.
That's the fella. He pulled the guy out of the car and he rolled him down the hill.
Now, wait a minute.
Stay right there.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
These gentlemen are from the police, Harrison.
So what? I haven't done anything.
You know a man named Frank Bishop?
Oh, I live with him, but I haven't...
You know a man named Russell Godfrey?
Sure, he used to work here. He got... Wait a minute, you don't think...
Frank Bishop had Godfrey's car. Bishop is dead.
What's that got to do with me? Bishop just lived with me.
One of you made a mistake and cashed one of those checks on the wrong day. I think it was Bishop. I think he got scared and tried to skip town.
I don't care what you think. I didn't have anything to do with it.
This man saw you roll Godfrey's body out of his car.
That's right. If I saw you, you pushed him. Just pushed him right over that hill.
We think you planned this whole thing with Bishop. You get the checks, Bishop forges them. You've been working here 10 years, haven't you?
Yeah.
You'd know just what to do with those checks if you had a good forger to help you.
How long have you known Bishop?
He's been living with me for the last year. I took him in to help with the rent. He should never have cashed that check.
Why'd they cash it?
I didn't mean to kill Godfrey. I waited on the road, and he picked me up. I didn't mean to kill him. Bishop got scared and needed some money. All that planning, and he ruined it.
just by cashing that lousy check.
Okay. Let's go down to the station.
Yeah, I guess it's just as much my fault. I didn't mean to kill Godfrey. Things like that happen, I guess, but I didn't mean to.
Okay, let's go.
Jail?
Oh, why, sure, young fella. Come on. It's nearly 4 o'clock. We serve dinner in an hour.
The lineup, where before you pass the innocent, the vagrant, the thief, the murderer. Listen again next week when we again bring you the lineup.
May I have your attention, please? You people out there on the other side of the wire in the audience room, may I have your attention, please? Thank you. My name is Greb, Sergeant Matt Greb. I'll explain the lineup to you. Each of the suspects you will see will be numbered. I'll call off a number, their name, and charge. If you have any questions or identifications, please remember the number assigned to the prisoner as I call his name. At the end of each line, when I ask for questions or identification, call out the number.
10 p.m. Eastern Time, March 6, 1951, The Lineup here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Please thank this station, support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every Monday at this time here on your favorite radio station. Miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available at classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. Stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me, find our social media links, and you can also buy me a copy. That Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections, and it also allows us to maintain our distribution channel, so we'll be with you here each and every time we roll around here on your station. Thank you for tuning in. Thank this station. I said that, didn't I? But I'm going to tell you to tell your friends. The greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.